Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to set up a quick texture-based animated cloud in Autodesk Maya using nFluid. First of all, you will need to change your workspace from Modeling to FX. After that, we can go to Fluids tab and create a new 3D container. When you create a new 3D container, you're going to see a fluid emitter that comes with it, which we don't need, so let's delete it. And then select the fluid container and go to Attribute Data. Then we're going to see this Presets button, and we can replace this container with Cloud Bank. And if we render this out, we already see a nice set of cloud, but it still needs some adjustments. Before I make adjustments, I suggest having your render sample down to 1 so we can preview the render result in real time. So first change we need to make is the shader of the cloud. So if we scroll down in Fluid Shape, we're going to see Shading tab. We can go in there and you're going to see Incandescence, which lights up this cloud. So there's absolutely no light in the scene at the moment, but it is visible in the render view, which I don't really want. So let me remove all the colors in this color ramp and black out the remaining color. Now it's invisible. So let's add another light in the scene. I think Physical Sky works pretty well. So with Physical Sky, the cloud is barely visible because of the background. So let me select the Physical Sky and increase intensity up to somewhere about 2, and remove camera visibility so the cloud is more pronounced in the final render. You can reduce sky radius and viewport as well. Now let's go back to our fluid shape and we can change the color of the cloud. I think a bluish white works pretty well. Something like that. And also you can adjust the transparency. And I think it's good for now. The next important thing is textures of the cloud, because this is not a simulation. So it's fully driven by textures, and our texture settings is simply a Perlin noise texture applied to this volumetric surface, but in 3D. If you're familiar with noise texture when you're shading your materials, it is quite similar. So the first thing I'm going to do, I think there are too many clouds, so let me reduce frequency to see the clouds in close up. And there are values that affects the shape of the cloud. The first value is amplitude. If you want a denser cloud, you can increase this value, and I think this is right for me, so let me keep this value. And ratio also reduces the density, and it kind of simplifies the shape of the cloud. So if you want a more realistic cloud, I would keep this number quite high, and frequency ratio also adds more detail and makes the cloud look a bit rougher. So I'm going to keep this value somewhere about 2.5. And depth max, if you increase this value, it will make your clouds even more rough. I think the default value of 4 works pretty well. And you could also invert texture, which is not for me. But if this is the look that you want, then you can go for it. So now I want to animate this cloud using texture time and texture origin X. So texture time does reshape the cloud as it goes, and texture origin X simply moves the cloud. So we can combine these two to make a smooth animation with transforming clouds. So I'm going to put an expression here. You can put something like equals time divided by 10, for example. And if we run the animation, you can see how it changes. If you want to make your animation faster, then you can right click and edit expression and reduce this value like that, and click edit, close, and rerun your animation, and it's faster. Now I'm going to do the same thing to texture origin X. I'm going to put time divided by 10. Let's try 10. And apparently it's too slow. I think you don't really need to divide this value. Alright. Animation is a bit too fast, but it gives you the idea of what these values, what these attributes do. And there are other things you might be able to do, such as texture scale. If you increase this value, it will stretch out your clouds. So you can tweak these values to get the look that you want. Also, you could rotate. Doesn't seem to change anything. And the zoom factor, which doesn't seem to do anything. So I think these three values, texture time, frequency, texture origin X, and depth max, ratio, frequency ratio, and amplitude, is the most important attributes when it comes to shaping your clouds. So if you're done with your cloud shape, then we can go back to shading and adjust the colors, transparency, and opacity. You can adjust this graph to get the look that you're looking for. And also you can change the size of the container to make the cloud a bit thicker, like that. We can increase the scale of the container and go back to texture and increase frequency to cover up the whole scene. And it works as fast as it did with fewer clouds. So I think this is a good way to add an animated element to your scene with a very effective speed. So this is it for this tutorial, and thanks for watching. If this video was helpful for you, please subscribe or like this video.